to the Town of Bennington Town meeting on March 1st, 2021. Before we get into any further portion of the meeting, Don Campbell, who is the chairman of the Bennington Select Board, and most importantly tonight, really running the technical aspects of this meeting, is going to explain how we are going to do this meeting as best we can via Zoom webinar and through CAT TV. Don?
Good evening, everybody. Glad to have you with us tonight. I'm going to put up on the screen the information for accessing this informational meeting. The first and best way to view this is to go to CAT TV and watch it on channel 1085. The second way is to view it on CAT TV Facebook Live. That does have a live chat feature, but none of that live chat comes back to this meeting. The third way is to enter the following link, which is posted at the town website if you need it. It's a long link, so I'm not going to recite it, but it does end in the meeting ID number. The fourth way is to dial 646-558-8656 and enter the meeting ID 894-6568-2987. That will bring you into the meeting, and that will allow you to access by phone. So those are the last two methods, methods 3 and 4. You will be able to raise your hand and ask questions at the appropriate time, and the moderator will call on you. The first two methods, watching on CAT TV and Facebook Live, are for watching only. So this is an informational meeting. No votes will be taken at this meeting. It's only for information. All the votes will be happening tomorrow from 7 o'clock in the morning to 7 o'clock in the evening at the Bennington Fire Facility. This, unlike most of our meetings, this is on Zoom webinar, so the platform's a little bit different. You'll see fewer faces, and we will make an effort to bring in faces that are panelists, but the attendees, anyone that goes in through that link, their video will not be shown. If you do enter the meeting and you want to be recognized by the moderator, if you've come in by the Zoom link, you'll see a little hand at the bottom of your screen, and there's a little golden hand, and that's the raise hand function. If you press that, you will it'll indicate that your hand is up, and the moderator will call on you when the time is appropriate. If you've called by telephone, you can raise your phone by pressing *9, and that will do essentially the same thing. When you're prompted by the moderator, you'll have to unmute yourself. So either your computer will ask you to unmute yourself, or the moderator will. If you're on the telephone, press *6 to unmute yourself. And as always, we'd like to ask all participants to please first clearly state their full name and residence before speaking. And before we go too much further, I'd like to make sure that we thank Alicia Youngman and Crystal Heyer for being our ASL interpreters tonight at the meeting. It's nice to have you. Nice to have you both here. Okay, Jason, I'm going to turn it back over to you at this point.
Okay. We always say the Pledge of Allegiance to begin this meeting, and Suzanne Kirkpatrick, who is highlighted on the screen, thank you, Suzanne, has put up a flag for us to do so tonight. I'd like to ask Don Campbell, who is our select board chair and not running for re-election this year. Don, will you please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance tonight, please?
Certainly. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Don, thank you. Before we get into tonight's meeting, the select board, I as the moderator, the town staff, we all recognize this is an imperfect system tonight. We're all going to do the best we can to provide the information that the public has become accustomed to at a town meeting. As Don said, there will be no votes taken tonight. All votes will be taken tomorrow. We ask for your patience, and please be assured we're doing the best we can to bring you the best possible town meeting that we can tonight under the conditions of COVID. The agenda tonight, I will read the warning in a moment. There will be a Bennington year in review provided by Shannon Barsotti. Representative Mary Morrissey will then read a proclamation signed by the governor. We then have 13 agency presentations that we will get to. I do ask in advance that the agency presentations be limited to 2 or 3 minutes each. And then at the conclusion of the meeting before adjournment, if there is any other business that needs to be transacted or anything that can be said that is germane to the meeting, that will be the time to do so. So having said that, the warning this year reads as follows. The residents of the town of Bennington qualified by law to vote in town meeting are hereby notified and warned to meet via Zoom in said town on Monday, March 1st, 2021 at 7:30 p.m. or immediately following the Southwestern Vermont Union Elementary School District's annual meeting, should that run over, to transact business specified to be done from the floor. If you are a resident of the town of Bennington and intend to be present via Zoom and are hearing impaired, arrangements will be made for a sign interpreter to be present at this meeting. For necessary arrangements, please contact Stuart Hurd, Town Manager at the Bennington Town Offices, 205 South Street, or at 802-442-1037, not later than Friday, February 12th, 2021. At the completion of such business, the meeting will stand adjourned until Tuesday, March 2nd, 2021 at the Bennington Fire Facility on River Street using the Lincoln Street entrance. The polls are open from 7 a.m. until 7 p.m. for the election of officers and voting on all ballot articles specified. Those on the checklist to vote in the Village of North Bennington shall vote for the election of officers on all ballot articles at the Bennington Fire Facility. The Bennington Fire Facility, above mentioned, is hereby established as the central polling place for those on the checklist to vote in said Bennington. Residents of Bennington and North Bennington may register to vote at the Town Clerk's Office, 205 South Street, Bennington, Vermont. Eligible residents registering on Election Day must do so at the polling place where they will cast their town meeting ballot. And again, the business to be transacted from the floor will be a review of the town report. Other business at the end of the meeting. There will be a select board election tomorrow where 2 3-year seats will be elected and 1 1-year seat will be elected. The town clerk's election will also be held tomorrow. And then there will be 18 articles, including items on the budget, a 1 penny general fund tax rate designated as a penny for parks, a referendum on the mayoral form of government. There are 2 articles related to cannabis legalization. There is 1 article related to select board compensation, which traditionally is transacted from the floor, but will be transacted tomorrow. And then there are 13 ballot articles related to different agency funding. So with that, that brings us to Shannon Barsati, who will now give us the Bennington year in review. Shannon?
Thank you, Jason. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Bennington's annual town meeting day. I'm going to share my screen. So my presentation is highlighting some of the events of 2020, which I think it's fair to say most of us are ready to turn the chapter on 2020, but it's important to recognize some of the successes that we were able to accomplish despite COVID-19. First of all, I want to thank our partners at Southern Vermont Medical Center and the Vermont Department of Health for all of their good work throughout this difficult time. Our frontline healthcare workers, our first responders, and all of our essential workers, thank you. So we had the opportunity in 2020 to work with the Vermont Partnership for Fairness and Diversity to, for the first time, create a vision statement for the town of Bennington. And we did that with community members, select board members, town staff, and the police department. So our vision, oh, can we go back? Is Bennington is a welcoming, engaged, inclusive, and resilient community where everyone, regardless of identity, shares in our vitality and benefits from an outstanding quality of life. So this is our vision that we aspire to. Our mission is that we serve people through teamwork. We do that by providing a safe community, providing opportunities for recreation, encouraging new development and growth, enhancing the quality of life, and improving infrastructure. So some of the exciting developments that are happening is seeing the Putnam Block redevelopment coming to completion, especially if you haven't had the opportunity to go to the back side of the building, you can really see the transformation that's taken place over the last year. The upstairs, the former Putnam Hotel, are now apartments that are almost all leased out. The tenants have moved in, and the downstairs retail spaces are being renovated with tenants expected to move in later in the summer and fall. Also, the Bennington Recreation Center, in partnership with United Counseling Service and their division, United Children's Services, the UCS received a grant from the Health and Human Services Department to expand their Head Start program in downtown Bennington. And they've partnered with the town to add a whole new wing to the Bennington Rec Center. And you can see from these photos, the childcare spaces, and then the new entrance and community room that will be part of the new addition, which will be opening later this spring. Some other developments, of course, we're thankful for the hospital purchasing the former Southern Vermont College, and we'll be working and planning and envisioning those spaces for the community, as well as the former town garage, which will be reopening as the Village Garage Distillery. The stage and splash pad have been completed at Merchants Park, and we had a soft opening in the fall to celebrate the completion, and the splash pad will reopen as the weather gets warmer. And then the former Ben High on Main Street is also being redeveloped, eventually for housing, but also for community recreation. So our police department responded to over 10,500 calls for service in 2020 and made 965 criminal arrests. They are continuing their drug take-back program, collecting unused prescription meds in partnership with Southern Vermont Medical Center, the Drug Enforcement Agency, and local pharmacies. This has also been a year of growth for the police department. All officers participated in community engaged policing training, and the police department leadership has participated in training with the Vermont Partnership for Fairness and Diversity. They're working with the select board, community members, to review police department policies. Although COVID-19 has limited the amount of community events, they're still continuing their community outreach through their Operation Copsicle program, as well as Trunk or Treat, Backpack Giveaway, New Experience Camp, fundraising for Cancer Awareness Month, and active shooter preparedness presentations. The Department of Public Works includes our highway department, water and sewer department. So the town, thanks to the work of MSK Engineering, received to remove all lead service lines, and DPW is working on the lead service line replacements. They paved over 3 miles of road and added over 2,600 feet of concrete curb and sidewalk, helped with site work and the completion of the splash pad. Also Stark Street Park, installed a new bridge on Rice Lane, helped to complete the wastewater treatment facility upgrade, and replace sewer pipeline in North Bennington and water pipeline in the rec center. Our buildings and grounds staff provide maintenance and custodial services to various town facilities, such as the town office, the blacksmith shop where the downtown visitor center is, police and fire facilities, the rec center, Willow Park, Beach Street, Stark Street Playground, the senior center, and downtown, and other facilities as needed. So the buildings and grounds staff was instrumental in finishing the splash pad, also Stark Street Park. And they also put up wonderful decorations every year downtown for Pride Week, Bennington Battle Day, and the holiday season. They've also been meeting regularly with Bread Loaf as the new rec center addition is being built. So planning and permitting has worked with the Bennington County Regional Commission to design and acquire rights of way for 5 bike and pedestrian projects. Sorry, that will serve as a backbone for a bike ped network in Bennington. So this first photo is a photo of the bridge on Coacher Drive that was completed December of 2020. Also, the Applegate Willowbrook Pathway project is scheduled for the spring and summer. Rail bike path is going to be here. And the Planning Commission has just recently completed a large project to, sorry about this, my screen is a little touchy. Oops. I'm trying to move our faces so I can see the screen. They just completed a form-based standards project, which is intended to simplify the zoning requirements and actually allow for greater uses of different businesses downtown. And the Office of Community Development, over $1.4 million in community development block grant funds have come into the town of Bennington through, and the way that community development block grants work is that the funding goes to the town and then is subgranted to partners throughout the town, such as the Putnam Block redevelopment, Shire's Housing for affordable housing, and the project that came through in 2020 is a redevelopment of 300 Pleasant Street. For affordable housing for families that have experienced homelessness. Also, we work with partners NeighborWorks on the rental rehab of downtown properties for affordable housing, Hale Resources, the Berkshire Family YMCA, UCS, and Sunrise Family Resource Center all received some COVID-19 relief funding as well. The Bennington Revolving Loan Program is for small businesses to particularly within our downtown district. So we awarded $70,000 in small business loans this year. In recreation, we've completed our Stark Street Park, the Pocket Park, Merchants Park, the Splash Pad, and we've grown our partnership with the YMCA, the Berkshire Family YMCA at the Rec Center. We also are expanding the Rec Center with UCS. We were designated as an Appalachian Trail community this year, and we've been working towards a Bennington Outdoor Recreation Collaborative so that our partners such as Bennington Area Trail System and the Green Mountain Club, Prospect Mountain Association, and Lake Perrin Recreation. We've also received downtown transportation funding for Franklin Lane improvements and a municipal planning grant for an Energizer reuse study. And our Historic Preservation Commission received a grant to create a new kiosk downtown to highlight our historic sites and our recreation and arts and culture. Our partnership with the Berkshire Family YMCA, the town has a management agreement with the Berkshire Family YMCA to manage all programming and staff at the Bennington Rec Center and offer health and wellness programs for all ages. The Y has started a number of new programs and has seen enrollment grow over the past year despite COVID-19. Camp Green Mountain Summer Camp at Willow Park was very popular, and they also started a school-age hub at Lake Perrin. They've been very creative with finding spaces to do their programming, particularly outside during the nice weather. And as Ben High is developed, that school-age programming will be able to move into the former auditorium at Ben High. The additional space at Ben High and the new UCS addition will allow us to greatly expand our recreation programs. Our Y staff are also developing a teen leaders program and will be helping to coordinate activities at the Bennington Community Garden this summer.
Don, I think we lost Shannon for a moment.
It looks like the connection dropped, which is unfortunate, because I don't think the presentation was done. Can somebody from the town staff confirm?
It just came back and I actually was completed. I don't know if you saw it all.
Okay, great. You froze up at the very last minute, Shannon.
Oh, sorry about that.
Did you have any final words that you wanted to say at the end?
I don't know what you heard at the very end,
You were
but my final, I was talking about the why, and then at the end of that, I just wanted to recognize our town clerk's office for their organizing of a seamless election during a very difficult election year, and also to recognize you, Donald, as you step down as chair, for your leadership.
Okay. Don, before we move on, is there anybody in the waiting room that has any questions for Shannon that we should be recognizing?
There are no hands up at this point, and I guess I would just remind attendees, if you do want to raise your hand, press the little raise hand icon at the bottom of your screen. If you're on the phone, you can press *9. I see Mary Morrissey's number in here, so I'm going to ask her to, I'm going to allow her to talk, and she'll be ready for the next part of your presentation, Jason.
Okay. Well, if there's no questions for Shannon, that was a very nice presentation. Thank you for the presentation. And hearing no questions, if Representative Morrissey is now available, we recognize her for the reading of a proclamation regarding Tom Jacobs.
Good evening, and thank you for providing this opportunity to publicly remember one of Bennington's civic leaders, Tom Jacobs, who passed away this past year. Tonight, I will read the Vermont State Proclamation that honors Tom's commitment and dedication to this community that will be forever in the history archives of the state of Vermont. I asked my fellow Bennington representatives and senators to join me in doing so. I would also like to sincerely thank Tom's wife, Lee, Tom's children and grandchildren for sharing their beloved husband, father, and grandfather with our grateful community, the town of Bennington. And the proclamation reads, House Concurrent Resolution in memory of former Bennington Select Board Chair Thomas Jacobs, offered by Representative Morrissey, former Representative Bates, former Representative Carroll, and Corcoran, all of Bennington, and Senator Sears and Campion. Whereas Tom Jacobs was a respected attorney, an avid outdoorsman who loved to cycle, run, swim, and ski, and a future-oriented Bennington civic leader whose calm and collaborative approach to addressing community issues earned him the title of Pillar of the Community. And whereas he graduated from the University of Vermont and Suffolk Law School, and for 40 years he resided in Bennington. And whereas in 2013, Bennington's voters elected Tom Jacobs to serve on the town select board, and in 2015, his fellow board members designated him as chair, a role he exercised adeptly and conscientiously for 4 years. And during his tenure chairing the Bennington Select Board, the greatly anticipated $54 million Putnam Block project became a reality. And whereas Tom Jacobs died on April 1st, 2020, and his survivors include his wife Lee, his children and grandchildren. Now therefore be it resolved that the Senate and House of Representatives that the General Assembly extends its sincerest condolences to the family of Thomas Jacobs, and be it further resolved that the Secretary of State be directed to send a copy of this resolution to the members of Tom Jacobs' family. I thank you for the opportunity in being able to share this evening. With COVID this past year, it's been difficult to find the appropriate time to do this, and I thought there would probably be no better time than to, at a town meeting, remember Tom Jacobs, who worked very hard for this community. So I thank you for that. An framed copy of this proclamation will be hand-delivered to the Tom's family later this week. Thank you again.
Thank you. Tom was a great man and was a mentor to many of us in the community. He was an exemplary select board member and an even more exemplary chair of the select board, and he is very missed. The next part of our presentation, or next part of our town meeting, it feels like a presentation on Zoom tonight. I apologize for that, are the agency presentations. Again, we're going to try to limit these to 2 to 3 minutes each, as there are 13 of them. Don, is Jenna Caslin from the Bennington County Association Against Child Abuse available? I see her picture, so I think she is available.
Right
Jenna,
here. Yep.
you are recognized.
All right. So I'm Jenna Caslin. I am the executive director of the Bennington County Association Against Child Abuse. We're most likely known by community members as the Bennington County Child Advocacy Center. So we are a multidisciplinary team that ensures children and families involved in sexual abuse or serious physical injury cases receive child-friendly services from law enforcement, prosecution, and protective services, as well as the child receiving timely and effective counseling. These cases require special expertise in the areas of investigation and services to victims to enhance protection and to facilitate court proceedings. We also work on prevention through education and training with local schools and community members. We cooperate with cooperative efforts between municipalities, police, prosecutor's office, the medical community, mental health, child protective services, schools, and other advocacy groups. So I would just ask that members of the Bennington community vote yes for the Bennington Association Against Child Abuse tomorrow.
Thank you, Jenna. Next, we have our flag lady from earlier tonight, Suzanne Kirkpatrick, to speak on behalf of the Project Against Violent Encounters, more commonly known as PAVE. Suzanne?
Hi, we are the organization for domestic and sexual violence in Bennington County and have been for 40 years. This is our 40th year. We are celebrating this 40th year, and do look on our Facebook page or on our webpage for more information about various activities going on this year. The organization began as simply a crisis hotline, and over the years has added many other services. Things like education in the schools, court advocacy, supervised visitation for non-custodial parents, many more. This year, we are adding a transitional housing to that through a grant. So we can take some of the women, generally women, who have been in our shelter and help them more, support them more in moving on into regular housing. Over this last year, we have provided support in our shelter for 65 adults and 39 children. We thank the city, the town, for its support in the past, and we hope that you'll be willing to support us again as we at PAVE grow. Thank you.
Thank you, Suzanne. The next agency to present will be Green Mountain RSVP, And Lenora Volkmer is now recognized.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Lenora Volkmer. I'm the Bennington County Volunteer Coordinator for Green Mountain RSVP. I would like to just take a quick moment to thank our many volunteers who are continuing to safely serve Bennington community throughout this time. They continue to deliver Meals on Wheels, assist seniors with grocery shopping, provide friendly phone calls, deliver commodities, and they continue to support monthly Red Cross blood drives. Our volunteers made creative and cheerful postcards for homebound seniors. They make masks for local agencies, and they knit mittens and hats for those who need them. They assist with the free tax prep service through the AARP tax aid program. Our volunteers also support his food pantry, and they lead the Third Thursday Readers virtual book club in partnership with the Bennington Free Library, and have helped to develop an informative fraud education video for older Vermonters. Prior to the pandemic, we sponsored Stuff the Bus, which generated 2,500 pounds of donations for 4 local pantries. After the pandemic hit, we organized a drive-up food drive, and we plan to do that again. 2 of our Bone Builder classes in Bennington resumed briefly, but are on hold for now. We look forward to restarting all Bone Builder classes, as well as bringing back the remainder of our volunteers to support our community partners as we did prior to COVID-19. Our program is requesting level funding, and your support is greatly appreciated. Thank you so much for your time and consideration.
Thank you, Lenora. Next, we recognize Tom Donahue of the Bennington Rutland Opportunity Council, Brock Community Action. Tom?
Yes. This is Crystal Heyer. If I could just interrupt for 1 second, if the host could just highlight me so I can switch out with Alicia as the interpreter, that would be super. Thank you.
Tom, if you can hold just for 1 minute as we switch ASL interpreters, please. Thank you. Okay, Crystal, are you ready? Okay, Tom, please, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. I want to first say congratulations to the town. As Stu Hurd will tell you, I used to be a community development director, and that's a great town report, and you guys can certainly be proud of what you've accomplished in the last year, especially during a COVID pandemic. So amazing work, great job, and congratulations on that. I really enjoyed that presentation. My name again is Tom Donahue. I'm the CEO for Brock Community Action. Our staff and I am located often at 332 Orchard Road in Bennington. I have a saying I often say, which is the foundation of a great community is only as strong as how we treat our most vulnerable. The foundation of a great community is only as strong as how we treat our most vulnerable. The town of Bennington can be very proud of all the organizations here tonight providing these services. Brock Community Action works collaboratively and in partnership with these services and these providers, and collectively we are helping Vermont's and Bennington's most vulnerable. This is both efficient and effective, working together and not in silos. Brock Community Action has a 2-pronged approach to helping those in need. Number 1, we help people through crisis. Number 2, we provide a sustainable path forward. Our request to the town again this year remains at $6,750. And our pandemic response, and in dollars and cents, is as follows. After the town had passed the mask ordinance, we made sure that we were recipients of thousands of cloth FEMA masks, which we have been distributing then, and since then, we continue to distribute. And during this languishing pandemic, we operate the Brock Community Food Shelf, and we increased the operation of the food shelf from 3 days a week to 5 days a week, which is operating now, feeding hundreds of hungry families in Bennington. In Bennington last year, we provided almost $50,000 in crisis fuel assistance. We work with local companies to provide heat to homes. We helped homeless families in motels or families on the verge of becoming homeless by providing over $85,000 in rapid resolution housing assistance. And we provided critical help in the tens of thousands of dollars in utility arrearage assistance on behalf of the Vermont Department of Public Service to Bennington residents that were behind in their electric bills, their phone bills, and their water and sewer bills. Our micro business office provided over $160,000 in $5,000 business relief grants to 32 Bennington area businesses. And we provided over $250,000 in home weatherization services just to Bennington residents alone last year. Over $250,000 in home weatherization services to Bennington town residents. This saved them money and improved their living conditions dramatically. This included emergency furnace and tank repair and replacements too. Our organization does much, much more, and I encourage you to go to brock.org or follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram to see our daily initiatives. In 3 minutes or less, this is at least a quick snapshot that demonstrates well over $500,000 spent assisting Bennington residents last year. Again, we respectfully request $6,500 or $750 from the town to help us continue this critical work on behalf of the people of Bennington in need. With the pandemic continuing to languish, it is more important maybe than ever. Thank you.
Tom, thank you for that presentation. Next, we recognized Lynn, is it Mazza or Mazza?
Mazza.
Mazza, Lynn Mazza for the Vermont Center of Independent Living. Lynn?
Hi, my name is Lynn Mazza. I work for the Vermont Center for Independent Living. I wanted to thank the board for the opportunity to speak and also thank the board, especially Jean Connor, for the presence of an ASL interpreter at this meeting tonight. VCIL is a disability rights and advocacy organization. Like independent living centers all over the country, the majority of the employees and all the board members have a disability and work with others who have disabilities for accessibility, inclusion, dignity, and self-direction. There are a number of programs under our umbrellas. We run the Meals on Wheels program for people under 60 who have a disability. We have the Home Access program, which helps people put ramps onto their houses and modify their bathrooms to be more accessible. There is the Agribility program, which provides information, education, and assistance at no cost to farmers and farm workers with disabilities, so they may continue farming if they choose to. The Sue Williams Freedom Fund provides funding for services and equipment to help people with disabilities achieve or maintain independence in their homes. Things like hearing aids, vehicle modifications, blinking smoke alarms, walkers, just to name a few. Our youth transition program offers support to young adults with disabilities ages 16 to 26 as they transition from high school into adult life. We oversee the equipment distribution program, which is funded by the state of Vermont to help income eligible Vermonters who have trouble using a telephone and need adaptive equipment. We also house the Vermont Interpreter Referral Service, which provides statewide American Sign Language, spoken English interpreter referrals for public and private events. And of course, we have the Peer Advocacy Program, which I'm involved in. Peer advocate counselors, all of whom have personal experience with disabilities, work with peers one-on-one and in groups to find solutions and improve options for independent living in our communities. So we're here for the communities and our services are free of charge, so please feel free to reach out. In the past year, the local branch of VCIL served 194 Bennington residents who received services from these programs that I named. In Bennington, Meals on Wheels provided about 22,700 meals for residents. Sue Williams Freedom Fund provided about 4,300 for assistive technology. The equipment distribution program spent over 1,500 on adaptive telephone equipment, and the Home Access program spent over 30,000 on modifications to people's homes. And during COVID, the Resilience and Independence in the State of Emergency program, called RISE for short, used COVID grant money to provide over 2,200 in assistance to Bennington residents with COVID-related needs. We thank you for your continued support. During the pandemic, we have office hours by appointment only, and our office is in the First Baptist Church on Main Street. But we are working from home, and you can find us online at vcil.org or at 445-3015. Thank you so much for your support.
Thank you for that presentation, Lynn. Next, we recognize Chris Adams of the Southwest Vermont Council on Aging. Chris?
Good evening. Again, my name is Chris Adams. I'm the Development and Communications Director with the Southwestern Vermont Council on Aging. I just want to say a quick thanks to all the Bennington town officials who have worked hard to put this virtual meeting together tonight, and also thank all Bennington residents that are tuning in. Again, I'm from the Southwestern Vermont Council on Aging. We are the designated area agency on aging, designated by the state of Vermont to serve Bennington and Rutland counties. And we're really fortunate to be able to do so. Our mission is to be a community force in creating and sustaining opportunities for elders and caregivers in our region to help assure that elders are able to maintain maximum independence and quality of life. So that's kind of what our aim is. And again, we're really proud to be able to serve the Bennington community. Just a couple highlights from our work in 2020, starting with our nutrition program. We provided nearly 25,000 meals to over 150 elders in the Bennington community in terms of through our Meals on Wheels program. So those are home delivered meals. Additionally, we provided over 5,000 meals to over 200 Bennington elders who gathered together at a community meal site. Where they gained not just nutrition, but valuable socialization and information on community resources. Additionally, SVCOA provided nearly 200 hours of one-on-one nutrition support and nutrition assessments and resource connections and referrals to 128 residents in Bennington. Another key program of ours is our case management program, and that program helped nearly 275 elders in the Bennington area, totaling over 3,000 hours of support. So those are just a few of the highlights. We've got a range of additional programs and services that help to support older Bennington residents. And again, we're really proud to be able to serve those folks. We are again requesting a level funded amount of $7,500 to support our efforts in fiscal year 22, the same as we requested in fiscal year 21. So thank you so much for the opportunity to speak tonight, and thank you for your continued support.
Chris, thank you. Next, we move to the Tutorial Center and recognize Peter Fish. Peter?
Good evening. I'm Peter Fish. I'm the Executive Director of the Tutorial Center. We're at 208 Pleasant Street in Bennington. And this is our 50th anniversary at the Tutorial Center, so we're very proud of that. Thank you for your generous support over the years. Your support helps us to reach ever more students in the community. This year with COVID, Tutorial Center has adapted well to remote instruction, thanks to our wonderful staff and students. We currently operate under a hybrid system. Both of our centers, we have our Bennington Center and we have a center in Manchester, are open for in-person instruction with all precautions taken as outlined by the governor. We understand the strain remote instruction has had on families this past year, and we offer tutoring in all subjects to help students catch up. Other services that we offer, adult education and literacy services, which are free for Bennington County adult learners, 16 ages and up. We help students build measurable skill gains in basic reading, writing, and math. We help develop personal and interpersonal skills. And we develop critical thinking and problem solving skills. We also teach digital literacy, and which of course is important now when families are home on the computer. Our programs lead to achieving a high school diploma or GED credential. So we prepare students for successful transition to post-secondary education and training, and support success in obtaining and maintaining employment. We also offer our high school completion program in collaboration with Bennington County Schools. Other services we offer are GED prep classes and a test center, and the PROV Professional Center certification exams for electrical and plumbing. And we also offer ESL, English as a second language classes, And as I say, personalized tutoring for all ages, all subjects, all grade levels. So SAT and ACT prep classes as well. And also I just want to highlight our summer youth program, the YAP program, which has been very successful for us. We entertain at-risk youth in an agricultural setting at our garden, and the youth grow the produce and then sell it at the farmers markets. So for further information, as I say, we're at 208 Pleasant Street. Our phone is 447-0111, or our website is tutoringvermont.org. Thank you for the opportunity to present this evening.
Peter, thank you for presenting. Next on our list is Bennington Project Independence, to be presented by Linda Wicklack. Linda, you are recognized.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Linda Wichlack, and I'm the Executive Director of Bennington Project Independence Adult Day Service. BPI provides comprehensive, cost-effective, community-based, non-residential services to assist older persons and younger adults with disabilities to remain active and vital members of our community despite whatever cognitive or physical challenge they may face. BPI provides a safe and supportive environment where people can come during the day and receive a wide range of professional health, social, and therapeutic services, as well as a nutritious meal and essential social interaction. And then they are able to return to their own home or their family's home each evening. BPI also provides valuable respite, support, and education to family members and their caregivers. In mid-March, we were forced to suspend in-person services due to the health risks of COVID-19. We were very concerned about the impact of the loss of our support services and the health effects of social isolation on our members and their families. We launched our BPI Without Walls telephonic, telehealth, and remote services initiative to protect, nurture, and support our members and their family caregivers. We have provided over 10,000 telehealth and telephonic support calls, conducted over 300 virtual and remote activities, provided over 300 dinners to go, and made over 1,000 deliveries of activity packets, food, and necessary supplies to our members' homes. BPI is committed to resuming in-person services when it is safe for our members to do so. We also continue to receive referrals from the community for our services. I'd like to share one of the comments we received from one of our family caregivers. The pandemic has hit us all hard, but the senior community feels it especially hard. The isolation of not going to BPI on a regular basis tore the foundation out from under our family. Were it not for the dedication, innovation, and love from the BPI community, my husband would not have made it this far. They've engaged him with phone call check-ins, kept him smiling and laughing with Zoom music, trivia, and activities, brightened his week with Wednesday meals, and even sponsored some rare and beautiful opportunities to be with friends during their socially distanced events. Bennington has a true gem in BPI, and they would like people to know what an amazing resource that we provide to the Vermont community. Our request for level funding for town support is essential to help us to continue to support our members and their caregivers during this pandemic, and for BPI to continue to be a vital resource for our entire community. We thank the Select Board and the voters for this opportunity and support, and we hope everyone remains well during this very difficult time. Thank you.
Thank you, Linda. Next, we have Charlie Jingo from the Bennington Free Clinic. I see Charlie on the screen. Charlie, you are recognized.
Thank you, Jason. Charlie Jingo. I live here in Bennington. I chair the board of Greater Bennington Interfaith Community Services. The Bennington Free Clinic is one of our programs. The clinic's been in operation now for over 12 years. We've served thousands of patients during that time. We're located at 121 Depot Street here in Bennington in the GBIX building. The Free Clinic serves people who cannot afford to have health insurance. And that's a really vital service that we provide in the community. We also work with some patients who are very underinsured, who have very high deductibles. So we see them also. We provide free primary medical care to the people who come through the clinic, and we provide some care coordination, and when necessary, we refer to other specialists in the community depending on that particular need that an individual may have. We have an amazing team of volunteer doctors and nurses who provide the care. one of the things that we do is we help our patients get enrolled in one of Vermont's health insurance programs. We screen everybody who comes through the clinic for substance use and abuse, for depression and other mental health issues, for smoking. We provide brief intervention and referral to treatment for those who wish to proceed further. For all of our female patients, we also screen them for breast, cervical, and cardiovascular disease. And we then check to see if they're eligible for our program called You First. It's a women's health, education, and wellness program. All of our patients are also screened for urgent dental needs, and we refer to other local dentists to provide that service. We conduct flu clinics around the community in the fall and in the early winter time. And we also run we run the Molly Stark Preventive Dental Hygiene Clinic that provides teeth cleaning, oral varnish and sealants, and referral to children who are in our elementary school. Our town allocation helps us pay for our medical and dental supplies and equipment, and it also helps us pay for lab work, x-rays, diagnostic tests, imaging services, and other outpatient services at the local hospital. We pay for certain dental care that our patients might not be able to provide, and we pay for prescription medications that our patients cannot afford. We had to close for a very short period of time this past spring when the pandemic exploded, so we could get in place all of the appropriate safety protocols, but we continued to do business and we saw patients throughout the pandemic. So the free clinic is still a busy place now, then, and we hope into the future, and we ask for your yes vote to help us continue to do our work. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Charlie. Next, we have Jonathan Cooper from the Sunrise Family Resource Center. I see Jonathan on the screen. Jonathan, you are recognized.
Thanks much, Jason. My name is Jonathan Cooper, a resident of Bennington, and I'm a member of the Board of Directors at the Sunrise Family Resource Center. So I'd like to thank everyone from the town of Bennington and residents who are tuned in for being a part of this civic process tonight, remaining flexible as we've all had to do for what feels like far too long. For those of you unfamiliar with Sunrise, it is one of the 15 designated parent-child centers in the state of Vermont and the designated PCC for Bennington County. It's part of a network that delivers sort of a set of 8 core services that includes both home visiting, early childhood services, parent education, playgroups, parent support groups, concrete supports, community development activity, and information and referral. And as I think I went through that list, you could imagine how this last year has meant having to be rather flexible in how to meet those sort of core services during the pandemic. So what has really been the thrust of the last year, I want to bring this sort of update to the community, has been really investing in our constellation of buildings on Union Street in downtown Bennington. As many of you know, these are originally built as homes, and they're homes of a certain vintage that required a little bit of activity and modification to make them appropriate for professionalizing professional workspaces in the time of an airborne pandemic and pathogen. It is with the extraordinary efforts of leadership, Denise Maines, Cindy Tumeyer, that over $200,000 of funding came in to make investments in the heating, ventilation, air conditioning systems on the Union Street structures, as well as another $90,000 or so dollars altogether into the Learning Together Kitchen, a kitchen for the alternative education completion program for new and expecting parents, as well as some funding directed towards the food pantry to make that center of the hearth and home a part of a place for learning, a place for skill building, and a place for families to grow and build skills together. This has also given Sunrise the opportunity in the past year to consider its staff and to consider ways in which it can remain an employer of choice in the social work and early childhood industries and sectors that are in Bennington, and ways to really maintain their levels of support, both to the families that they serve, and to the staff that have provided extraordinary levels of support, coverage, and care over the last 12 months. Sunrise, once again, comes to the town of Bennington with a level funded request of $15,000. We do hope for your support that I'll be providing in person tomorrow, and hope for the same from all of you. Thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you, Jonathan. Next, we have the VNA Hospice represented by Christine Horde. Christine?
Yes, thank you. Hi, my name is Christine Horde. I am the Director of Philanthropy for the VNA and Hospice of the Southwest region. We thank you for your time tonight and allowing us an opportunity to tell you a little bit about us. For those of you who don't know, VNA and Hospice of the Southwest region is a not-for-profit home health and hospice agency, and we care for residents of all ages from birth through end of life in Rutland and in Bennington counties. This year in 2021, VNA and Hospice will be celebrating our 75th anniversary of providing care, and we're very proud of that. In 2020, we provided care ongoing, even during the COVID. Of course, home care became a much busier place with people being a little hesitant to go to healthcare facilities. We provided 123,000 visits, and in Bennington County, in Bennington, the town of, we provided visits to over 30,000 visits to more than 640 individuals. What a lot of people don't know is that Medicare and Medicaid are very large sources of funding. And for Medicaid in particular, and also most insurances, we do not get reimbursed at the level of care that we charge for those services. And we're very proud that we're able to keep people out of more expensive things such as emergency rooms, hospitals, and nursing homes by being able to go in and provide care to them in their home where they would like to be with their family, surrounded by the things that matter most to them. We consider ourselves the safety net. We provide care to people regardless of profitability. We employ over 290 people between Bennington and Manchester, or Bennington and Rutland counties. In addition to home care services, we also provide such things as blood pressure clinics, foot clinics, flu and cholesterol screenings. And if you want to learn more about our agency, you could visit our website, which is vermontvisitingnurses.org. We are seeking level funding again this year, and we hope that we can count on you for your support. Thank you so much.
Christine, thank you. Finally, we have the Bennington County Coalition for the Homeless and Ed Barbeau. Ed?
Good evening. My name is Edward Barbeau. I'm the Bennington County Coalition for the Homeless Board of Directors President. On behalf of the Bennington County Coalition for the Homeless, we're extremely grateful for the support we continue to receive from the people of Bennington. We have been helping families and individuals break the cycle of homelessness and gain permanent housing for over 20 years. We currently operate 2 year-round emergency shelters, one for families and another for individuals. Our family shelter can house 9 families, and our single shelter has capacity to house up to 16 individuals. While the pandemic has presented many challenges, through our dedicated staff, we have been able to remain open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to aid those in need. At the Bennington County Coalition for the Homeless, we are committed to providing more than just a safe place to sleep. In addition to shelter, guests also gain access to case management and programming focused on enriching life skills that will provide them with the tools necessary to sustain permanent housing and remain independent, all of which would not be possible without the support of our community. Thank you again for your continued support, and we respectfully ask for your vote yes in support of our article on the ballot.
Okay, thank you, Ed. That
We're
concludes.
just going to switch interpreters really quick here. If we can just take a minute to do that. Thank you so much.
Sure. We'll wait a moment to do that. Donald, while we're waiting, I don't know if I've done something wrong on my screen, but I can't see if there's a waiting room of any sort or type. I don't know if there's an adjustment I need to make.
I am watching the waiting room, and you're okay. It's the participants button at the bottom that will show you that. I need to know if the Okay, Alicia, am I letting Alicia Youngman in? Is that
Yeah.
the, okay,
Yeah.
great.
Thank you.
Sorry about that. Had a little trouble finding you. Thank you for rejoining us. Thank you, Crystal.
Okay. We are now through the agency presentations. If there is anybody seeking to speak on any other business or ask the town officers any questions about the annual report, now would be the time to do so. Or in the absence of that, a motion to adjourn if there's no further business.
There is one hand up. Jason, would you like me to enter this person?
Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to allow this attendee to speak. And
I
ask them
don't
to-
see who it is, but it sounds like there's only one.
It's Susan Borden.
Susan Borden. Okay, Susan, if you could please state your full name and town of residence and what you seek to speak on.
Hi, Jason. I'm Susan Borden and I live in Bennington. And just before we ended, I just wondered if I could thank a few people who have done so much for us this year.
Certainly.
The list is long, but I think first this incredibly dedicated team and who include, I'll start, I guess, with all of our healthcare workers led by Tom D and Dr. Dobson and Pamela Duchesne. The agency, so many of whom we've heard from tonight, who've kept hope and health alive for so many of us. To our professional town leadership, Stu Hurd and Dan Monks and Shannon Barsati and your colleagues. And to the amazing Cassie Barbeau, somehow you and your team have navigated all of the obstacles raised by COVID and enabled unbelievably high participation with the safety, keeping us safe and full of access in all these important elections that we faced. And to you guys on the select board who stayed responsive and responsible and dedicated through the tragic death of Bill Scully at a time of critical social reflection, still getting the Putnam Project going and supporting all these wonderful agencies and organizations we've heard from tonight. And then especially I'd like to thank Donald Campbell, our retiring select board chairman, who, Donald, you've exemplified all that is noble about public service. You exemplify for me that amazingly rare quality of leadership, taking a little more than your share of the blame and a lot less of your share of the credit. I'm, for one, will miss you, and I really want to thank everybody in our town who I think has helped us through this incredible time, and I look forward to seeing everybody in person at next town meeting.
Very good. Nice sentiment, Susan. Thank you for that. Looking, and Don, thanks for pointing that out to me. Now I can see the list of people that are there, but I see no hands raised as I'm scrolling down the list.
Jason, may I take just a minute to just thank and acknowledge the other board members on this board. It's not going to be easy to have them introduce themselves, but without changing the screen. But I would like to thank all of the board members that have helped us: Bruce Lee Clark, Jean Connor, Jeannie Jenkins, Jim Carroll, and Sarah Perrin. And they've done a wonderful job this year. When work got busy for me and I became much less available, they all doubled down and worked twice as hard to get a lot of things done. And I also would like to thank so many people who have acknowledged Tom Jacobs, a great friend and mentor, and also Bill Scully, whom we miss and who did a great job while he was on. And I would like to second the other sentiments that have gone by to really acknowledge our town staff, particularly our town manager, Stuart Hurd, who does a fantastic job, our assistant town manager, Dan Monks, who is an amazing man, Cassie Barbeau, who just absolutely keeps the pieces together in the town office, and all the other town staff that do such a great job for everybody. So I've needed to get that off my chest, and I have now done so, Jason, so I'm handing it back to you.
Well, that too is very well said. Thanks for doing that, Don. I'm trying to peruse the panelists and attendees. I see
And there are no hands up. Oh, there's one hand up in the panelists.
there
Let's
is
see, we've
Bruce
got,
Clark.
yep.
Bruce, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. I would just make a motion that we adjourn this meeting.
There is a motion to adjourn the meeting on the floor. Is there anybody that would like to raise their hand as a second to that? And I
I'll
see-
second it, Jason.
Thank you, Stu. I don't think I contemplated how we were going to take a vote on a motion to adjourn, but this would be the first motion to adjourn that failed in the history of motions to adjourn. So having recognized a lot of town meeting history on that motion to adjourn, I'm going to declare the meeting adjourned until tomorrow morning at 7 a.m., at which point the polling place will, the polling, not the polling places, the one polling place this year at the Bennington Firehouse on River Street using the Lincoln Street entrance will be open for voting on the articles we discussed before. Thank you for all attending and thank you for your patience. Thank you for everybody who spoke tonight. Good evening, and we'll see you at the polls tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you, Jason.
Nice job, Jason.
Thank you, Jason.
Thank you.
And thank you to our interpreters. Great job.
Absolutely.
Okay, I'm ending the meeting, everybody. Have a good night. Don't forget to vote.